What up?
What up? We are DV, and today is March 31st, and it is Monday,
Right.
2025. Very grateful to be here, and I'm glad you tuned in. If you tuned in, appreciate you.
No doubt. So recently, I just heard a song that was very, very authentic, which was a breath of fresh air, especially coming from a hip hop artist, and it was by YG. And his new song, it was his new song called 2004 with Buddy. And he starts the song off, says, "When I was young, I got by a chick that was twice my age." Right? When I was young, I got by a chick that was twice my age. You guys can fill in the blanks from there. But I thought that was a very authentic line, you know? And of course, for the rest of the song, if you listen to it, it's called, so it says 2004 by YG with Buddy. And throughout the song, he's talking about a subject matter a lot of hip hop artists, a lot of artists won't touch on, right? Especially male artists, right? But this is what I mean about the authenticity. The topic we're talking about is, I think it's very necessary, even more than ever, in rap music, right? Because it's funny because rap started with being real,
Right.
but it actually is so fake now.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, the irony. It started with being real,
That's
keeping
true.
it real.
I know.
It got so real that it got fake.
Like so fake now, it's a costume almost.
Right.
It's embarrassing
It's a
at some
joke.
point.
It's a
you
joke,
know?
you know?
Like when you start seeing costumes around Halloween for certain rappers, like that makes you think, like, has this shit just become like a joke now? Like where
It is.
people are just dressing up, it's like it's just weird now. You know, just saying like how I see it.
So that's what I'm saying. So what we're gonna talk about is the authenticity of the
Yeah.
lack of it
Yeah.
and why it needs more of it. And I think this song that he started with, YG, is gonna maybe open the doors for more of it.
More
you know?
dialogue.
I think it's gonna start a trend where there's gonna be more of a dialogue. There's gonna be more authenticity in rap. Period. I think
Yeah.
so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope this is a trend, right?
Right.
So let's talk about it. Authenticity in rap. And let's talk about the lack of it right first. You know, somewhere down the road, I don't remember when it happened. I've been listening to hip hop since the early 90s, right? Since I was a kid, early 90s. And back then I felt like it started with, you know, keeping it real, right? And I think they were keeping it real back then. At least I thought they were. You know, so that's a question I still gotta ask now too.
Yeah.
But what I thought was they were keeping it real. And I say keeping it real, I mean keeping it honest. Keeping it honest. And why is it important to be honest? Because especially with hip hop, it's not like any other music. With hip hop, the community that's listening to it, kids, you know, and just community period, they're raised on this stuff. It's not like country music and pop music and all that. They don't get raised on it.
Right.
We get raised on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We take those words and we run with that. You know what I'm saying? Kids have learned, us specifically too, a lot of kids that grew up into adults, and they can tell you straight up, I learned this off of that song. I learned how to do this in life off that song.
Yeah.
E40 taught me how to get money. So-and-so, Jeezy taught me how to get money. So-and-so taught me how to be disciplined. I got that from 50 Cent, you know? Or Dead Prez,
Right.
you know? We learn real life lessons off this music. Hip hop is unlike any other music when it comes to that. People live and die by it, right? They don't do that with any other kind of music.
Yeah.
Just think about all the other genres. They don't take that shit to heart. Hip hop, we literally raise children on this stuff. And I ain't gonna say it's a bad thing because I think that was the point of it. But then somewhere down the line, we mixed up this real and this so-called real shit and got out of hand, you know? And it became negative. But anyway, because of the fact that people are learning and growing up off hip hop music to this day, I think it's imperative that we're more authentic now. We're being honest, you know, and I think YG did a great job starting off with that,
Right.
with this song, you know.
It's a hell of a way to start off a song.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it got your attention and it's honest.
Right.
He didn't dance around it, he didn't sugarcoat it. He said it exactly how it probably went down, you know?
yeah.
And I respect it.
And
you
what-
know, to even,
And I want to touch more on that specific subject in a minute, but getting back to the lack of authenticity. When I say there's a lack of it, I mean, to me it's clear, but for those who don't know, we see a lot of rappers now. We hear a lot of rappers and see. They'll talk about literally talking their music, play this persona of who they are. And I understand it's entertainment, but like I told you, hip hop is unlike any other music. There has to be more authenticity for that reason, because of all the reasons I told you.
Yeah.
And they're guiding the people listening to it the wrong way. They're telling you to do this and that. And at the very least, if you're gonna fake it on a positive level. Don't fake it on the negative level. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna talk about killing, if you're gonna be faking it, at least fake it on some fake. Be fake positive then. At least that way the message gets out and it's still positive. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm seeing is Cass is talking about the same old materialistic shit. It's the same story we've been hearing for a long time now. I'm pretty sure everybody knows.
That's the problem with the message. Mainly, it's like without even judging it, the idea that it's been told so many times is why it's played out.
Right.
It's like
beating a dead horse.
It's all the same story. How many times you hear it, and who you hear it from, what rapper you hear it from, or whatever.
Right.
It's the same story essentially when you listen to it over and over. It's the same shit.
Same story.
I'm like, come on, man.
Talking about what's going on in the hood, the struggle. Like, bro, the world knows. People who don't even live in the hood know what goes on in the hood.
So
let's talk about something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we know about all the death. We know about all the same story that goes on in the hood. We know that story.
What does that really change? It don't change shit because we keep telling the same story.
Right.
How about, if anything, you could, and there's nothing wrong with touching on the realities of it, even if it is harsh, but touch on it. They don't touch on one aspect of it.
Right.
Because
that's not act like there ain't some positive
talk
shit
about
going
the
on in the hood
in-betweens,
too.
when niggas sell dope, when they start using the dope.
Right.
Talk about that turnaround.
Right.
Talk about when that nigga goes when he's up and then he goes back broke and see how things change.
Right.
Talk about the other things in between.
Right.
Just tell the whole story though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the other aspects.
Talk about the love that there is in the hood, because believe it or not, there is a lot of, at least there used to be, there's a lot of love in the hood still. There's still regular families.
Yeah.
Regular people that don't gangbang, that don't sell drugs. There's regular people that still live in these hoods in America.
Yeah, and what about the dudes that don't gangbang, but they still gotta do everything except that?
Right.
And some of it's just a part of just survival, just to get through it day to day.
Let's talk about more of those stories, because we know a lot of guys like
you gotta get your hands dirty just to get through sometimes.
Right.
I know that.
Right. But that don't mean they was out here trying to be a follower and gangbang.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys like that.
Right. It's just part of, the environment, and you gotta adapt to your situation in some areas.
Right. So it's misleading is what I'm trying to say. It's very misleading. And that's the reason why and like I said, there's a lack of that authenticity right now in rap music. But I'm thinking if we were to start doing more what YG just kicked off, I'm thinking, the people that are affected by it can be affected by it in more positive ways.
Absolutely,
right? Yeah. And I'm really just saying communities, because like I said, hip hop ain't just music. It raises communities.
I think with something like that, with being more honest with your music and essentially being more vulnerable, that helps a lot of people, especially in the art world, like in terms of creators and shit. It helps them, open up more to creativity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And also, I think, especially for young black males, I would say it encouraged them a little bit more to at least be open to the idea of getting therapy.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all got some goddamn issues because of the shit we gone through. Just trauma comes with this shit, with just looking like we look, So
people do. That's probably why so many love hip hop. That's probably why so many people who aren't black, who aren't males, who ain't from the hood, are still attracted to it. Because that's a general thing that every human experience. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know we come from how it goes. So, for them especially, that can be very inspiring. At least get them to open up to the idea.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I just feel like it's almost 10 times harder coming from certain, neighborhoods and shit and environments. You don't only have the financial aspect. You got the psychological aspect you got to get past too.
Right. So
that's why I brought that up specifically, and that's where YG comes from probably. So those are people that connect the most, who need to hear that type of shit.
Right. And speaking of authenticity, I want to give another shout out to another artist. I feel like he's always been very authentic, no matter, his story wasn't the hood story. Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He wasn't the hood guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was very honest with who he was and where he was coming from, and it wasn't the hood story. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the gangbanging struggle story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He told what his story was. For those that don't know, look up Kyle. Yeah. But his story was not the average rapper hood story, but it was a very honest story. Yeah. And that's why he was well received for me. I think that's why he's well received for a lot of people. because he was so honest about what his story was. And it was different also, you know. But there's a lot of guys like him, believe it or not.
But yeah, that's funny you said that because I was watching an interview with dude Bosco. I can't remember his last name. Black dude, the blood. And I think he said Inglewood. He was
Queen Street, yeah.
Yeah, he said I heard him say I didn't have I didn't grow up with the roaches and rats, you know.
See what I'm saying?
He said he didn't grow up like that. And I was like, that's really cool that he just, you know, a lot of cats I feel like they gotta tell that the other side of the story, like they came from so much struggle just because he's a game banger. But didn't mean that's how it started off. He just made a different choice in his life.
Right.
See, and he told it just how it was. Like, that wasn't my story.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And people get.
And there's a lot of people who aren't telling that story that they did come from that.
Yeah.
Though, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not telling that story.
But they're not telling it.
Yeah. They're not telling that story.
He started off with that. You know.
Right.
That's what I mean. That it's stuff like that is what makes all the difference. You know. There's nothing wrong with telling the story, but tell the whole story or tell different aspects of it.
Yep.
So people watching or listening can get a better idea.
Yeah, and that's the best way to get trust, I think. Be authentic, be real, tell the truth, be honest.
You definitely connect better when you do.
Yeah. You know? I think that's the fastest way to really get real trust is just be all the way honest, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, I believe you connect in a better way when you do that.
Because now when I hear rappers, I'm so, but all right, he sounds good, but all right, what else though? You know, I'm like, I'm put off instantly because I'm already distrustful of him now. I'm like, just another faker. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to trust you again. That's what I'm saying. I want to be able to trust rappers more. Yeah. You know, and so that's like some of the reasons why I think it's important as far as authenticity. There's tons of other reasons why. But I'm also going to talk about why I think a lot of rappers aren't authentic. I think a lot of it, I'm not really sure how it started like that. That's the only thing. But from as far as I can remember, there was a pretty quick switch when I first started listening to rap where it was starting to be honest, and then it just kind of made a switch to just everything was all about being phony. You know, it was a quick switch. It happened, started off real, and then just real quick, it just went to that little fake shit. You know, from mid '90s all the way down, right, to now. And I just feel like one of the reasons I think maybe it got so fake and so unauthentic was because I think, you know, somehow there was some kind, I gotta be honest, some kind of agenda that was pushing to not share your heart. Not, you know what I'm saying?
I think there was a shift where from a place where people were encouraged to be authentic and try to be original and try to show that and make that the forefront of who you are. And then that shift went from follow the crowd. Right. Follow what the trend is. Right. And if you're not looking like the trend, now you look like a lame.
And you'll be broke.
And you'll be broke. Back then, it was like the value was how original, how
real can it be?
How inventive,
how original
can it
it
be,
was.
You know?
Right.
That was the value.
Right.
Then it switched.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it didn't encourage people to be creative anymore. It made people want to withdraw from standing out. Right. We came from stand out, do your own
That's
thing.
all we knew, right?
But I noticed like the younger generation, so a lot of times, not all, but a lot of times, especially in certain places, they're like terrified to stand out. They'll do anything but stand out.
They're actually looking to blend in.
Yeah, they
want to look like that next motherfucker. You know, I'm like, that shit blows my mind.
Like, you'll see a lot of that. If you look like if you go past by the high school and shit, you can check out how they're dressed and shit. You can see a lot of them. They want to blend in. They don't want to stand out.
True,
and you got some bold ones like us. They just like fuck that. Yeah. You know, and I respect that. You know, but at the end of the day, it's not honest expression. Right. When you're trying to follow a trend or you're just trying to look like someone else, that's the problem. Is because it's not an honest expression of who you are.
Right.
You know.
Another reason why it's hazardous, especially for the younger ones, because we're supposed to be teaching them how to find themselves, so they can be individuals, right? Yeah. And because we need more individuals in this world. But how are we gonna get that if we got a bunch of copies and copycats and just like the other motherfuckers?
Afraid to do their own thing.
Yeah. Who's gonna be our leaders? Yeah. Who's gonna be the ones who's gonna stand out? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why I think it's imperative that we have more authenticity in hip hop. You know, and we need to be more vulnerable. Like I said, we need to be more vulnerable in hip hop.
It's a healthier approach, if you ask me.
It is. We'd have healthier people. That's another good reason why. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no doubt about it that hip hop is the most influential music in the world. Yeah. So based off that alone, there needs to be more vulnerability in hip hop music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And rap music, however you want to say it, hip hop or rap.
Yeah, because I mean, like at the end of the day, like it's people are people. And we are still dealing with music, but we're dealing in creativity and all that, but we're dealing with people first.
Right.
So without having that different, those different types of realities, there's no dynamics to the shit.
Right.
If everybody wants to be a baller, goddamn.
Right.
Well, I mean, shit, that's where we at. But what if, but the reality is, some people already are ballers. They want other things in life.
Right.
But they make it seem like through the music that everybody that's
all in life.
that's all we want. Everybody just
Yeah.
want to be in the club.
Nah.
Throwing money at strippers and shit.
Everybody wants to fuck every day.
Like that's not. Everybody's
day.
not thinking like that.
Nah,
Some people not even in it for that.
Right. Right. That's not the reality.
No, that's not reality. It's just a lot more to it than that.
Right. But that's the way the music is being portrayed. As if
around,
that's what everybody's on.
Yeah.
You know that's not true when you look around.
Like when people when you hear the music and they be like broke boy, broke ass bitch, broke ass.
As if you're non-human now,
like,
or you're less of a human because you don't have. You're not
like
rich.
You can't even get looked at as a human anymore if you ain't got no bread.
You're useless if you're not rich.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna reduce a person.
There's
to
more
their
people without
status.
money than there are people with money. So what's that say then?
Yeah, like
about the world.
And everybody knows there's hella lames out there with money.
Right.
Like, hella lames out there. Don't even know what to do with themselves.
Because you're rich, you're still square as fuck.
Yeah, so that don't mean shit.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not authentic. It's different dynamics to people.
Yeah.
If all you know, like I know people, it's so weird and awkward to meet a person that when you try to get to know them, and the only thing they can show you is their financial shit,
right.
about what they do, their status, and
their
the
Instagram
material
page,
shit,
just surface stuff.
And it's like, who are you though? And they can't tell you because they don't even know who they are. They only know themselves through all the material out shit.
Right.
And it's sad to see because you can ask them till you're blue in the face, but who are you though?
Right.
They'll only tell you, this is what I do.
Right.
That's not who you are though. That's what you do to make money. It's not who you are. And it's not authentic.
Right.
So if you're gonna express yourself and you're gonna represent yourself or present yourself, do it in an authentic way.
Yeah. And back to the authentic part, back on YG's song, I just want to say, I don't want to get too much into the details because you guys know how things are censored a lot. So I won't go too much into it, but I will say, once you listen to that song, once again, 2004 by YG and Buddy, the subject matter he's talking about is something that needed to be talked about so much because so many males have gone through this, but they don't talk about it because they're afraid to be vulnerable.
Right.
They're afraid to be vulnerable. Right. Us included.
Yeah.
We relate to it.
Yeah.
There's so many men who relate to it. Like I said, I won't get into too much detail about it because of the censorship, but you guys know what I'm talking about if you go listen to the song. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm saying. You'll get the gist really quick.
There's plenty of men out there that can relate to that.
Yeah, and I was happy to hear it because I said, man, finally somebody's being honest about it. A lot of dudes I've even heard dudes talk about it. And I liked it.
Yeah, because we've been made to think, oh, that makes you a man.
Right.
It's like, but the reality is that was wrong.
Right.
And it wasn't cool.
And it did damage you. It actually did damage you.
But in ways, a lot of times,
you don't even know
we don't even realize.
Right.
Man, I know it damaged me in ways. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't even want to use the word damage. It definitely it impacted my thoughts. It impacted my self-worth in a way that I didn't even think of. I wasn't even aware of it till later in my life.
Right.
You can tell by the patterns the life patterns and the choices that I made.
Right.
They were affected from that experience.
Right.
I didn't know it.
Same here. So many different ways.
Yeah.
But I was congrats to him, and I hope more people talk about this kind of subject matter. You know what I mean? Be more open about it.
Yeah.
But just more open about what's going on with them. Period. I just want to hear more of it, specifically the rap music, because I feel like rap music is a music that has become the most unauthentic.
Yeah, it's the
ever.
most. It's like
inauthentic.
The things that like it just seems like they're just talking about all these other things. So you won't have to pay attention to who they are,
right?
Or even want to look into it. Let's look at my car, look at my money,
look at my
jewelry. Don't look at me, look at this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't ask who I am. Look at this over here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask about where I'm really from.
You ever see the rappers when someone asks ask them a real question, and they'll be like, "Yeah, so look, I'm a baller now. I'm rich." Like don't get your mind off of the real.
I even
stuff.
heard one guy say, "Rich people want to talk. Rich niggas want to talk about that.
Yeah,
we ain't gotta talk about that. Talk about this money."
Yeah, they'll be like, "Never mind that, but I'm a rich nigga though, so that don't even matter."
And really, as he says, you're afraid to be real, bro.
Yeah.
You're afraid to be honest.
Yeah. With
yourself. But let's, like I said, the good, not say the good, but I'll say the lack of authenticity in rap music and why we need more of it, right? That's basically what we chopped it up about right today. If you guys feel us on any of this today, go ahead, please leave some comments. Let us know, yes or no. Do you agree? You don't agree? You know, if you know any other songs that you think that probably are very authentic that we didn't talk about today, leave them in the comments. Let us know. Once again, share this video with anybody you think this might have helped or might even be entertained by at the very least, right? Like this video, share the video, most of all, so we can stay connected with you right now. Subscribe, hit subscribe. So subscribe to our channel. That way you'll be updated on everything that we put out right when we do it, you know, and stay connected with us, for sure.
Check it out, y'all. I love you and I love myself. But I love you because I love myself. So love yourself for yourself.
No doubt.